What is up YouTube, it's Kingfisher745, and you asked for them so you're going to get them. In this video we're going to bring you some very rare defeats. I wish I could say I never lose, but that would be a lie. In fact, there are all sorts of reasons that you will lose occasionally on offense, no matter how good you are, no matter what you bring to the table. This video is actually going to show the 3 different ways that you could possibly lose an offensive attack. Offensive attack, that sounds kind of redundant. But anyways, I actually didn't plan it out this way, it just ended up working out. In fact, I just now thought how it showed 3 different ways that you can lose. Or at least the 3 different ways that I lose. And even though the final match is the truly heartbreaking loss, I consider all defeats heartbreaking. Now for this first match, it's a pretty decent example of a really fast loss. One that there's not too much you can do about. Admittedly though, it's not the perfect example. In fact, there are matches where I lose without even getting a single turn. And this isn't exactly one of those. I don't typically save those recordings where I don't get a single turn, but maybe I should have kept at least one. Those type of matches are usually something like perfect turn order for your enemy, and Enchantress goes first and charms you. That charm of course kicks in every single round, and then maybe Beast stuns you with a knocking AISO, or the agent has some stun weapon, and you don't have the skeptic and die to dots before you even get a chance to act. The other examples would be Quicksilver and Star-Lord taking tons of turns and getting a bunch of follow-up attacks, and your team just dies before you can do anything about it. And finally, just for an even newer reference, the Spider-Man Noir and Rocket Raccoon team, preemptively leaving your team in the dust, and the match is over as quickly as it began. So there's the most frequent type of loss that happens, at least for me. And I kinda see those as the AI or computer deemed it time for you to lose. There's just nothing you can do about it. Sure, you could have tried a different team or different setup, but then you would have just got a different matchup. Trust me, I've changed teams and setups so many times, and as soon as I do that, I stop getting the team that frustrated me into the change. It's pretty odd how that works. Now in this match we were trying out a Spider-Man Noir team, and he was at level 11, though that wasn't the big problem. The problem is I was tired of facing Iron Fist, so I brought in the Neuro Purge. Then the Neurotrope and the Cosmic Cardinal because I wanted to do some follow-up and counters. But of course I should have just used the Mandible. Granted, this may have been before I had the Mandible. But either way, what this loss represents is not being properly prepared or equipped. AKA, I didn't have the Skeptic. But even beyond that, like I said, the build wasn't very good. You French fry when you should have pizzaed, you're going to have a bad time. Even with this bad build though, we're going to do much better than we should have. Part of the reason is because the enemy team has no protection for Enchantress. And that's one tip that I will give you. Enchantress is always going to be an infiltrator, so if you can bring in a scrapper, you can do a ton of damage to her. Especially if you have a stealthy attacker. But if they don't have a protector, then you don't even need a stealthy attack. And so what we're going to do right away is try to use busting heads to knock her out. Union Jack could have easily done it being a scrapper, but since we had the opportunity early, we went ahead and took it. So with her knocked out and our team relatively high in health, you would think we would do alright. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Every time we attack, we're going to be taking decent bleed damage, and it's only going to get worse. We do have one type of removal, but that's it, and that's coming from the Light Fantastic. But since Beast is still alive, we can't remove those debuffs yet. So I guess on top of pretty poor equipment choices, it's also poor planning that leads to our demise. The main problem though was where I would normally take down Pestilence Beast first, we didn't have the Skeptic, so I had to go after Enchantress instead. So once again it does come back to equipment. Now when it comes to using the Light Fantastic on this turn, yes it was another mistake. But at the time I was worried about a big Jekyll and Hyde attack, and I figured well, instead he'll heal us. If only I would have waited, I could have removed our debuffs, and we would have easily won this fight. Alright, well at the end of the day I guess this match could just be everything went wrong. Mistakes were made, the equipment was terrible, and we had some bad luck. Now another problem I'm having is the enemy agent does have the watchful eye, and I really hate that. I still couldn't remember though if we got our preemptive counter anyways, even if we missed, so I went with over the top. You know what, I really wish we could have this one back. It was very bad. The only thing I can say for myself is maybe it was late at night, and I guess no one's perfect. What I did want to say to all of you though is, not with a fight like this because it was 99% my fault, but those fights like the beginning one and the ones I mentioned, where nothing goes your way, you're losing before you even get a turn, or you can't hit the enemies, you're constantly charmed, stunned, and so on. Just step back and take a break. Honestly, it seems to happen at least once per tournament, even to me, where I just cannot catch a break. And no matter how many times you fight, you just keep losing. So the solution honestly is, just step away from the computer. Usually when I come back from that, PvP is so much easier. I'll start to think to myself, why was I even worrying? By the way, something similar to that is what we've talked about for a very long time. Well, myself and other veteran agents. It's almost as if the game punishes you for playing too long. So say you're winning all these PvP matches in a row. Then at some point, you'll get the worst matchups, the worst turn order, or you just can't buy a hit. That's basically Marvel Avengers Alliance telling you to take a break. I don't know what it is. There's been a theory about a certain win percentage, but I couldn't begin to tell you what the actual cause is. But anyways, this was a very long, drawn-out loss, and I'm going to reverse what I called it, or what I attributed this loss to, and instead say it was player error. So yeah, some losses do occur because of equipment, but a good carpenter doesn't blame his tools. Now in this last match, we were once again trying out something different. So yeah, this loss was all the equipment's fault. Of course I'm kidding. And we're using 2 Spideys. It's actually their fault. Now we wanted to try out the Amazing Spider-Man and try to get him some extra turns. So we figured we'd bring in the Grimoire of the Legion. Since it's a debuff, we can use a Tactician's Safeguard suit, and it will become a quick action. Then what it does is places flanked on all the enemies. Unfortunately, they have Iron Fist. In a way, you could say it's a bad matchup since that's exactly going against what we plan to do. But hey, it's just something you have to deal with. And in fact, we're going after Iron Fist first, because taking him out would be a huge benefit. However, we have another very large problem in Red Hulk. Once his bulwark starts going, we're in trouble. And then on top of that, Iron Fist is going to prevent debuffs. So at this point we figured Iron Fist's no good, Red Hulk is our new target. Especially since we're going to flank him. Plus, even though that's a quick action, we still have a free action in our superior combat sensor. See, so the build wasn't that bad after all. A free action, a quick action, and the relentless rapier. That's not bad at all. Now the Grimoire can place bleeding stacks on us, and that could be a problem. But if Amazing Spidey ends up getting extra turns, he can really devastate the enemies. That would make it all worth it. Let me just warn this though. Now he typically will get extra turns, so this is a bad example. But for general purposes, I hate relying on procs. It's a dangerous game to play. Think about it, most of the time it's a 50-50 coin flip at best. Only the AI gets a 90-10 split. So for offensive attacks, when you only have a coin flip for your proc, and it's something you're relying on, for survival, I don't like those odds. Instead, give me the guarantee. And that's probably why certain heroes and team-ups are so OP. They're quite often the sure thing. What will show you how messed up the defense is though, is it's actually the opposite. It almost defies common sense. The sure thing there is to put in characters that can get crazy procs like Star-Lord, or in the past, Ares, Rogue, Havoc. That's because those procs number 1 come really often with the AI, which is highly suspect. And when you do get those procs, you basically steal a win. And that's what defense is. You're trying to steal a win away from the offense. The offense should probably win, especially when the AI acts, well, less than stellar at times. As a human, we're able to think, react, adapt, but still we lose sometimes. Yes, even the Kingfisher. Although maybe this was a copycat agent, and I'm just commentating over someone else's losses. Yeah, let's go with that. But here we are, even though it looked like we lost, we still have a chance. Iron Fist just hurt those chances, but we still have a chance. I figured my only option was to go ahead and try to web up Iron Fist. And so to do that, we have to begin with our level 1. So here comes a web shot. Then after that, we do get spider senses and dodge his attack. This gives us an extra turn, so we're going to use our level 1 once again. And then following that, we have a chance to knock him out before we die to dots. Our only hope is use our level 6 and get a big crit. So here goes our last gasp. And we end up knocking him down to 207 HP. Now that's why that's called a heartbreaking loss. But there you have it, some defeats over the ages. Now don't get used to it, because it doesn't happen that often. Except for just the other day, but that was an aberration. The truth is, we all have our bad days. Like I said, just step back and take a break. That's some advice I need to take as well. But as for this video, that's going to be the end, and I want to thank you all for watching. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Then until next time, good luck, and take care.